My starting point was the three levels of what we confront as problems today and how they are structured. On the one hand, it is the absolute external enemy. ISIS, Islamic State, Boko Haram, this totally brutal, irrational other. Then we have the mid-level, let's call it new geopolitical tensions, United States, China, or Putin, Russia, and so on. And then we have the renewed, a little bit more radical left in our Europe itself. Syriza, maybe Podemos, and so on and so on. My point, of course, is that the most danger is the last one, Syriza and so on. That ISIS is, it's even so non-transparent to know. I have good connections with Israel. I'm informed what is going on there, who is supporting whom. There are some good reasons that Americans and Israelis are not totally innocent there. What is now confirmed, it was published in our press. You just have to look at it. You know, these are the small news. For example, do you know that in South Lebanon, most of the border is controlled by Hezbollah. And then you have one part of the border, eastern part, which is controlled by Al-Qaeda. Because Al-Qaeda is Sunni and fights Hezbollah, Israel is systematically, with arms, food, and medical help, supporting Al-Qaeda there. And it's not a crazy story, it's documented. I mean, they admit it and so on. So who knows what game people are playing there? The reason I find interesting this Islamic fundamentalism is we are not surprised enough of the strangeness of what is going on there. For example, isn't it strange that we have Boko Haram, a big social movement which wants to restructure entire society, and its main programmatic point is women at their own place. That is to say, no Western education for women, which means no education, and so on and so on. Isn't this something so weird? How could this have happened? That all of a sudden we are back to the 60s when we were saying sexuality is political, but not exactly in the same sense, you know. And it's also interesting to what extent it's easy to make fun of Boko Haram, you know, but they are just the extreme point. There is more and more. This is, I think, what is also behind this fear of gay rights, or even, you remember, you were part of it here 2-3 years ago when that crazy Conchita Wurst won Eurovision. The Russian reaction was very interesting. It was almost one step towards Boko Haram reaction, no? Like Putin said, I read in the Bible there are two kinds of people, men and women. What is going on now here, and so on, you know. My favorite statement was made by Zhirinovsky, the nationalist, who says in Europe there are now no longer men and women, there is only it. You know, some kind of Stephen King monster, but still, okay, that's this so-called fundamentalism. What I find strange here are a couple of things. The first thing is that, and here we should become more self-critical. Why is this happening? Why this, also in our country, with fundamentalists, this politicization of religion? Don't blame just Islam. You know that these are official data. FBI in United States has under observation 2 million Americans, Christian fundamentalists, as potential threat. Wait a minute, this is almost the same percentage, 1% too, as in Muslim countries. So, of course we should fight fundamentalism, but we should also raise the question, what is it in the process of global capitalism which generates fundamentalism? Because fundamentalism is not simply a remainder of the past. You know which example I always quote here? Afghanistan. If some of you are old enough, I am, unfortunately. I remember 40 years ago, 50. Afghanistan was maybe the most secular of the Middle East Islam countries. They had a pro-Western king, kind of a technocrat. They had, they had a very, sorry, they have even a strong local communist party, and so on. Then, you know what happened? Communists made coup d'etat. When it failed, Soviet Union intervened to support them. Then Americans mobilized their allies like Osama bin Laden and so on. So you see what's the tragedy? One of the most tolerant countries, it became fundamentalist as part of being caught in global process. So we shouldn't play innocent here and mock them. There are fundamentalists in Arab countries. There are also fundamentalists in United States themselves. Or which countries, probably apart from ISIS, the most fundamentalist? Saudi Arabia. But are we aware what strange country Saudi Arabia is? It's nothing. It's something that survives strictly from American and other countries' money. It's something which has no substance. They're getting billions from oil. It's Western capitalism or capital organized as a state there. So, again, this would be my first